we are going to open a few packages of mail for a YouTube mail call. Next. Hey everybody, Matty here from Comic Sales on Instagram. I do weekly live sales there Thursday nights, and I'm trying to bring more content to you here on YouTube because I got a lot I want to get off my chest. A lot of packages to open, a lot of CGC to unbox, a lot of knowledge to impart, a lot of philosophy to wax upon. But I have a lot of technical issues when it comes to YouTube. So I'm trying a new setup, recording directly into my phone. We'll see how it works. Not using the StreamYard format anymore, not trying to go live for the time being. Seems to be an issue there. Anyway, hope you are receiving me loud and clear and there are no issues. Leave a like, comment, subscribe, and just getting this channel up and running. Any support is much appreciated. And let me know what you think down in the comments below. So today, guys, I've got a few packages to open from a recent mail call, otherwise known as receiving mail from the Postal Service. Anyway, I have from 3 different shippers. One of them is a buddy, T Rich on Instagram. I made a trade with him, 1 slab for a bunch of books you're going to see. Another person is another Instagram seller named Lucky Comics that I've been picking up some good deals from. And the third one is a Facebook seller who's sort of like piecing out parts of his collection to me. And it's, I think there's some really cool stuff. 2 boxes to open from him. So let's get started. I'm going to start with Lucky Comics here. Luis Paisan. Got our trusty box opener here. How's everybody's week going? All right. Okay, so we've got some hair in the packing tape here. Clearly a doubly used box. This is not this box's first time around. Just noting things, no shade to the seller, just, you know, sometimes you find deals in places where you're willing to take some risk. You know what I mean? Sometimes you can find some of the best deals, at least online and probably in person as well, from people who might not be the most experienced sellers. And you can also strike out with those types of sellers too. You know what I mean? Like, I sort of rolled the dice sometimes, especially on modern books. If I notice that someone doesn't grade a lot of their books and they're selling a bunch of raw books, you know, hot raw comics for good prices, they don't have great pictures, sometimes I don't press it. I just sort of roll the dice. I say maybe they don't really know what they have. Maybe they got some 9/8. And, you know, sometimes I do ask for more pictures, but it depends on the scenario. This is a seller that I've bought from before. I've got some good deals from him. And so I'm sort of going back to the well. And that's kind of a theme with this mail call, is like once you find a little honey hole, whatever that might be, if it's online or in real life or whatever, sometimes you got to go back to the well, see what else they have to offer. So I've been keeping my eye on this page. This seller, again, Lucky Comics, Lucke, I believe. It's the hip hop comic spot. A lot of hair. This is kind of a pet peeve of mine. As my girlfriend at home knows, long strands of hair loose floating about are not my favorite thing. I don't really like them with my comics either. But anyway, that's a first impression. You know what I mean? This is not someone that I'm getting like the best impression of as like a professional seller. Again, for better or worse. Because he seems to be a guy, if I'm reading him right, he seems to be a guy who's been collecting for a few years, has some cool hot books, didn't get a chance to grade everything that he maybe should have, and he seems to be cashing out. You know, he seems to be done with comics because he seems to be selling everything. But you know, he's kind of doing it the right way. And to be honest, if you're deciding to get out of comics, you're probably going to get more bang for your buck listing stuff individually, trying to get close to fair market value on stuff, rather than trying to sell the whole collection, where you get vultures like me or West Coast Dave or any other reseller who are trying to pay, 50% or less of the fair market value on everything. So, I sort of fall into this trap sometimes myself of like, I see a really good deal as a buyer. I'm like, oh, I'll take it. Like, for example, these books, Venom 3, first print and third print. I still feel like I'm not following the market on these that much. And I still think of them as like 2021 prices. And I'm like, ooh, Venom 3, third print. I remember, riding this book through its heights, you know what I mean, in the beginning of the comic boom, how crazy hot this was. So I still kind of have this trigger finger on this book. If I see a good deal, I want to kind of scoop it up. Best offer takes them both. And I said, okay, let's think about that. I said, how are they? He said, they're minty. And he showed me pictures that I was relatively satisfied with. And I was thinking, okay, we're thinking about probable 9/8 here. So we're that potential value, but possible 9/6s. So I tried to make an offer where, like, if they end up being 9/6, I don't lose out too much. I offered $270 shipped, and he said sold right away. So this is a guy that, he is like, at a time, this was going for $200 raw. You know what I mean? So, this book went up to, I think, $1,000 9/8 at a certain point. Now it's probably sitting at like $400 9/8, maybe less. So anyway, $270 shipped for both 9/8 candidates seemed like a good deal to me. And then he kind of strung me in with a lot deal for these other books. Venom is not super hot right now. Donny Cates is not super hot right now. But these types of things do come back around, I find. And there's always a Venom buyer. There's always people, Venom fans, Symbiote fans. And these books went crazy. This was around the time when second, third, late printings were starting to really blow up, was when these Origin of Null issues were just like super fire hot. I got these for the equivalent of like $10 or less a piece. Probably about $10 a piece. Late printings in the Donny Cates run, including a second printing Dylan Brock for first full, second printing Dylan Brock cameo. I've never even seen that one. Second printing issue 10, second printing issue 9, second printing issue 12 is technically the first cover Dylan Brock, I think, because as a baby. And then a variant, third printing issue 2, second printing issue 5, Miles cover. I just thought these were cool. These will, if I put these as buy it nows on my sale, they'll all sell. Like, these are not very high print run books. They're all cool Venom covers, and I got the Null books as well. So, it's a little tough for me I still feel like I overspend sometimes as a reseller because I see a good deal and I kind of get caught up in the moment. That's kind of an example. Like, I dropped, I don't know, $400 on all that stuff. And I don't know how I'm going to make out on it, but I think, I'm trying to become more and more disciplined, especially as the market wanes and gets more conservative. I'm trying to get more conservative. That was a bit of an impulse buy that I sort of regretted. I was kind of like, geez, I could really do other things with this $400. And these are not like particularly hot titles. So let me know what you guys think. I mean, obviously, if I were just collecting them, I think they're good prices. But again, I'm trying to be more choosy as a reseller, and I'm curious what you guys think about that pickup. All right, now here we are with a trade I did with my buddy Tim T-Rich on Instagram. Tim, bless his heart, Tim has come in and out of this hobby, I think, a few times since I've known him. He's the kind of collector, which I totally relate with, because, I was out of the hobby for a long time, who I think he just gets bored with it. You know what I mean? He gets bored and he wants something new. Maybe he gets more into cards or more into, I don't know, other life stuff, other hobbies or whatever, and he cashes out. So I have been the beneficiary of him essentially cashing out a few times. And this is one of those things in our community where, like, opportunities come up. It's not necessarily like an entire collection buy, which I get fewer opportunities for, but it's more like good deals you can get from friends. You know what I mean? Like, got a friend in Massachusetts who sells me parts of his collection at about half price. I'm going to meet up with him tomorrow and pick up $500 of books from him. It's different ways to get inventory, to get stuff that might be grading potential. At any rate, Tim is back in the hobby, and he is raring to go for turtles. He's a turtles collector through and through in this phase. Maybe this is, we'll see how long it lasts for Tim. But right now he's everything turtles. That's what he cares about. So I had a turtles piece, which was actually supposed to be for my PC, but you know how things change when you're a seller. I had the Momoko TMNT 100 IDW Ultimate Comics Edition. So it's a very limited, I think, to 250 or 300 copies. It's sort of a modern Turtles Grail because it's so limited, and it's got the overlap of Momoko and Turtles. Great cover. It's a Japanese cinema homage. I'm gonna sort of unbox all this stuff so I can show it to you all at once. Tim did a really good job of packing it. So I traded that piece to Tim at a trade value of about $1,000 because I was looking for like $850, $875 for it for cash, and I wanted to get a little more value as a trade. And so Tim basically he said, like, look at my page. He'd recently like done all these sort of mail call photos of stuff he'd picked up recently. He's like, look at my page. You can basically see what I have available to trade. And I kind of just put together the trade. I said I would do it for these things. We went back and forth a few times. I said I would do it for these things plus cash. He said I don't want to throw cash in. I said that's totally understandable. And we ended up at this place where he added another book. I didn't have to take any cash. So this is just, this stuff is perfect for me because it's a little hard to move like a niche Turtles book that is expensive. You know what I mean? It's a niche modern Turtles book, very, very high price point, above $800. It's a little hard to find someone to pull the trigger on that for cash. However, this stuff is going to be easy as hell to move. If I want to move it, grade it, whatever I want to do. I've got a first black cat. I'm obviously going to have to check out the condition on all these. Looks like he got this from fucking Rad. Cheap. That's another seller on Instagram. That's how I don't really know why he ruins the bag and board with Sharpie on his books, but that's his style. It's a mid-grade copy, first black cat, so we got that going for us, which is nice. Then we got a first Man-Wolf. Again, looks like a fucking Rad book. Probably got it from a claim sale live, I'd imagine. So some nice Bronze Age Spidey. We've got a She-Hulk 1, which Tim thought was a 9/8 candidate. Now, this is something I've learned to take with a grain of salt. When another collector says something is a such and such candidate, I don't take their word for it that they, have the same grading eye that I do. Not that I have the best grading eye, we just might have different standards. At a first glance with this sort of nice clear backing board, you can see that this is a really clean copy. Now, of course, this book has slid epically since before the She-Hulk show. I see a couple spine things that would probably keep it 9.6. I don't know if you guys can see stuff with this camera setup, but there's a couple things that maybe make it 9.6, but it's still a nice book and it was part of the trade, so I probably will try to grade it. 9/8s on that are below 400, I think, and during the buzz it was over 1,000 at least. I got this Jock Detective 880 Classic Raw, which is really cool. I think he said it was like a VF, so we'll be checking on that. But I got a good deal on that in terms of trade value. Got a little book known as ASM 300 in a newsstand. Again, a nice lower mid-grade copy. So that would be like a nice auction start for $1 sometime when I want to really like juice up an auction, get some excitement going. And this was a cool one. This was the throw-in at the end. in lieu of any cash, I accepted this one, which is a Kyle Willis limited sketchbook with COA, artofkylewillis.com. And it's got this beautiful Miles remark. And on eBay comps, I have not seen any with that same remark. So this is a pretty cool book for a Miles collector, which I am, but, you know, I'll probably move this particular piece. And then I got this Turtles Adventures 9.4 white. So that was everything I got in exchange for one slab, the Ultimate Comics Edition Turtles 100. So thanks again to Tim for this great deal. All right, now I don't have a ton of time. I've got to go in about 10 minutes. So I'm going to try to get through this real quick. This is a Facebook seller who I can't remember exactly how I came across him. He probably had a marketplace listing or more likely a listing in one of those like comic Facebook groups. And somehow, you know, we made a deal on a certain lot of books. And now I think this is my second or third deal with him. I think it's my second deal, but in the first deal, we sort of had one of these add-on deals where bought a bunch of... He's actually the one I bought the X-Men Claremont run from. It was a Facebook... Now I'm remembering. It was listed as a sale post in a Facebook group, and I claimed it in the post. It was a really big Claremont run that if you've been at one of my auctions recently, I did like an Oops All Claremont sale a couple weeks ago. And that was all from this guy. So this is what I was talking about a guy where, you know, you get a good relationship going with them, and then they, you know, if you're a seller, especially not a professional seller, and you find a good buyer like myself who's, you know, responsive, pays fair prices, you know, easy to work with, sometimes you just want to go back to that buyer. Like, and same thing with as a buyer, as a seller, you know what I mean? Like you want to go back to the seller as a buyer rather. So it's sort of a symbiotic relationship if you sort of find someone that is easy to work with and they have stuff that interests you. You know, you can keep kind of going back to the well with them. And so I got the X-Men run from this guy as a claim. Basically, he had a really reasonable price for that whole lot. Something like $1,100 shipped for like, you know, X-Men 94 through 142 with most of the keys intact. You know, varying conditions. There's a 101 detached. There was a lot of good stuff in that lot. Sorry, I'm just moving, trying to move fast so I can finish up the video with you guys and get out of here in time to go get back home to take care of the baby. Let's see, I don't want to ruin anything here. Really good bags and boards he puts on all his stuff. This is all like Mylar and fullbacks and stuff like that. So that's also a real good, this is a collector, you know, it's a collector who is willing to part ways with some of his stuff. And he's just looking to do it conveniently and get a decent deal. You know, he's not trying to get top dollar for everything. So let's take a sip of coffee and go through this stuff. All right. Let's do this in like 5 minutes. All right. We have a lot of Jack Kirby. So back to what I was saying before, he sold me the Claremont run and then he followed up with a message saying, hey, I also have XYZ. He just threw in basically another kind of mid-grade key lot, first Spider-Woman, lots of other cool books for like an extra $200. It was like a little add-on. So we made it up to like $1,500 and I said, deal, got everything safely. And then he hit me up like a week or two later, like, hey, I'm willing to sell. I pulled some more things out of the collection I'd be willing to sell. And we made a deal for another lot. So we'll see how many times we go back to this well. But this is a Forever People run, missing issue 1. But it's all really high grade Jack Kirby goodness. And this is the kind of stuff that I will be looking for 9.6, 9.8 candidates for and thinking about grading. Not that they'd be like super easy slabs to move, but just because, you don't want to pass up an opportunity for some, Jack Kirby goodness that's tough and high grade to sort of realize that potential. Here's an issue 3 that looks amazing. Issue 2 looks great. Some of these are key issues as well. Here's an issue 11, obviously out of order here. Issue 10. Now that I'm thinking about it, I sold a copy of issue 10 to this dude locally. I wonder if he'd be interested in some of this stuff. Issue 8. Issue 6. Issue 5. Issue 4. Issue 9. Issue 10. This wasn't the stuff that I was like, issue 11, that I was like raring to go. I wouldn't just sort of spend top dollar on, oh man, look at this. I mean, this Mr. Miracle 9 just looks like, it looks 9/8. It's just really nice. I recently picked up Mr. Miracle 1 and what is it? What's the big Barda key? 3 or 4? So it's just interesting how this stuff is coming into my life right now, the Mr. Miracle and Jack Kirby DC stuff. But this stuff is great. Lots of Mr. Miracle here. New Gods. Again, I'm going to pre-screen all this stuff. Issue 15, issue 16, issue 17, issue 18 is a marriage issue with Big Barda. I love that cover. Okay, burning through it. We got a lot of stuff from it. It was 2 boxes. He's just trying to make space, but I just love how well this stuff is kept and collected. Now we're into some modern. We have a Harley Quinn Joker foil edition. That might be like a Lemole situation. We have a first Jubilee in a newsstand. X-Men 244. Looks very sharp. Very high grade. We have this is part of what sweetened the deal, was just seeing any, low number Spider-Man stuff. John Romita, ASM 62. It doesn't matter if it's low grade. It's just like this stuff is liquid gold. First full appearance of Mary Jane cover detached. I mean, it's a collector who, he collected to have the book. He collected low grade better than no grade. And oftentimes that's the stuff that's easiest to move because it's at an affordable price point. Flash 127. This is a minor Batwoman key. Kate Kane as Batwoman. We have, this is more of the New Gods. And then rounding out our Kirby stuff, we had OMAC 1 and Sandman 1. 2 interesting #1 issues. We have a low mid-grade Avengers 34 Living Laser. We have a second appearance of Hawkeye in low grade. Tales number 60. Tales 56 is Uncanny Unicorn, which is kind of fun. First, Sharon Carter, rather, in Tales 75. Oh boy, I don't know if I'm going to get through this. Green Lantern 42. Green Lantern 41 with Power Princess. FF 83. Some more Jack Kirby, FF 81 and 82. More FF. Run filler, 37. 58 low grade Doom cover. No problem. First, Power Man and Iron Fist. Looks like a decent copy of that. Power Man 50. Secret Wars 2, #3. First full Beyonder in newsstand ×2. Then some random stuff. Creatures 10. Monsters 16. He collects a lot of horror stuff, so I was sort of prying some of that stuff out of his collection. Marvel Feature 1 and 2. Red Sonja. Tales of Titans. Some Tales of Titans stuff that I'm not really familiar with, but we'll look into it. ASM 161 Nightcrawler issue. Secret Wars 10 Classic Doom cover newsstand. New X-Men 114, that's a key of some kind. Magic miniseries complete newsstand. Eternals 3 high grade for Cersei. More Jack Kirby. High grade Moon Knight 15 Sienkiewicz. Darkseid second appearance. Jimmy Olsen 135. Swamp Thing 1 low grade. Here we go. Swamp Thing 2. Swamp Thing 5. Swamp Thing 7, I think first crossover with Batman in that issue. Swamp Thing 8. 9 classic covers. 12. 15. 17. Hulk 202. Supervillain number 1. Creatures on the Loose 21. Star Trek. Interesting Star Trek. All right, last little show off here is Marvel Comics Presents. And then a couple more horror books. Let me just recollect these. Luckily, they're probably pretty well protected in here. He bagged and boarded them in Mylar and those clear backing boards, so they show off these cool back covers. So I'm not going to go through every one of these, but these are all Marvel Comics Presents Wolverine books, and they all have cool back covers. So issue 2, back cover looks awesome. Issue 3, it's a really cool use for these kinds of boards. 4, 7, those are cool. 82, I'm going to show you the best back covers. 83, this is a nice one, 83. Also, you can tell that they're newsstands because the UPCs are on the back for this run. 84 is a wraparound, which is really dope. That looks awesome. 80, 81, 72 is the beginning of the Weapon X run, and you've got that classic back cover with the newsstand. All right, 73 is cool. 74, 75, 76, 77. So he collected these in newsstand, you know, and he wanted to be able to show the UPC, which is exactly what I would do. Here's a cool Wolverine 10 with the back cover here. Look at the barcode. It's so dope. So I think I paid something like $5.50 for all this stuff, if you've been paying attention. I think that's a pretty sweet deal. Finally, I got first Mummy in Supernatural Chillers 5, and I got second Frankenstein monster number 2. So all that stuff, I'm sweating. I've been trying to get this video done in time, and I appreciate you guys help me get out of here on time. Hopefully the technical specs of this video worked out, and you enjoyed seeing this mail call. Lastly, guys, I just wanted to show off my previous video. I showed off the unboxing of this little doozy, which is a Fantastic Four 48 7.0 off-white to white pages signed by Stan Lee. Recently had the restoration removed from an 8.0 restored to a 7.0 Universal. So Signature Series rather. If you want to see this unboxed, the video quality was terrible, but you can hear about it. This crazy story of it going through CGC restoration removal. It's just a really epic story that took a lot of unexpected twists and turns. So you can check out that video. It's called CGC Story Time. And that was the previous unboxing I did. All right, everybody. I will be live on Thursday night on Instagram at MM Comic Sales, selling a lot of the stuff you're seeing here, and much, much more. So hope to see you then, and thanks a lot for tuning in, guys. See you on the next one.